I guess from an ideological standpoint, I mean, certainly we are a newspaper. The word news is in the name, and we're very focused on the here and now, and more so as technology changes and we're reporting hourly and up to the minute, and you've seen the commercials that say, that's so 28 seconds ago and things like that. We've evolved in that direction. But at the same time, we continue to see news as an ongoing process, as a moment that was built upon history, that factors led up to the news moment. It's a continuum. It's not a flash in the immediate, and you kind of have to see what's happening now against the backdrop of what's happened in the past and kind of understand it in that way. We have the mission of being a mirror on the community and letting it see itself through our pages, and also to a degree, guiding and driving the dialogue and some of what's going on in the community, and we take both of those roles very seriously. Newspapers continue to be watchdogs for the community, watchdogs on government, watchdogs on the processes that go on in the community, but at the same time we try to celebrate successes and elevate opportunities for growth as a region, and we take that very seriously as well. Some of the projects we've taken on in the newspaper and evolving into the book realm have been fun and light, and some of them have been not so much fun and light. We did the first book project that really launched us down this road was Disaster's Wake, which was a look back at the '77 flood here in Johnstown and in the surrounding areas. And we had been hearing for a couple of years that maybe it was time for somebody to do a book about that incident. A lot of materials have been published about the 1889 flood and a fair amount about 1936, but we had this third big flood in Johnstown that has been driving the direction of this region ever since then, economically, socially, has had a lasting impact. And what was really neat about that project, and we did it in 2007, was we were able to talk to a lot of people who had been through it, who were flood survivors. We have people on our staff who were on staff then, and we're both flood survivors and reporters on the flood, and we're kind of doing both simultaneously, and somehow found the courage to be both of those people at once. It's very interesting. Certainly, the first mission we have is to inform and to lead, and that was, in that day, that was part of the mission of the paper, to be out front, to help the community understand what was going on, to help us find directions and the way forward. Homelands was a newspaper project that was rolled into a book project after the newspaper piece ran its course. We actually began to plan Homelands in late summer, early fall of 2009. And maybe it was from some of us hitting so many ethnic festivals throughout the summer and just kind of getting a sense, the immediate sense of how much those things matter to people. Traditions and customs, faith and music and food and all those things that all the people talk about when they come to Johnstown. We talked about, can we go forward with a project that explores a lot of those ethnicities, the people who came here, when they came here, why they came here, and who is still around, maintaining those traditions and carrying that culture forward. A lot of design skill went into that, a lot of different writers going out and talking to a lot of people, and a significant amount of photography and graphical elements, so a lot of people can say they were part of that. Beyond that, the community was part of it. We did these projects for the community, but we also did them, with the community. We're fortunate to be in a community that cares about its newspaper, that people read it, want it to be as good as it can possibly be, want to see themselves reflected in its pages. We try to be as interactive as possible. A lot of these projects involved people submitting their own memories or something that a grandparent or a parent had held on to for years, and that's part of the overall tapestry of the moment. And we certainly, I think, strive to get our readers involved in our process day to day. It's their newspaper ultimately, it's not mine, and we want it to be as meaningful and as useful as it could possibly be for them. And I tell you what, they embrace that opportunity a lot of times. They'll call or send a handwritten note, hey, should have gotten this right or whatever, and I'm great with that, because I think that's what really keeps us alive and keeps us connected. Certainly these are, in some ways, challenging times for this industry. Papers are struggling at times to maintain and grow readership, although online the opportunity for readership is enormous, and I think most of us are really trying to find opportunities to reach out to people technologically. But the advances in technology have really aided reporting. We're better than we've ever been at reporting news as it's happening from wherever it's happening. In 2001, the staff here rallied well and understood the magnitude of the story they were dealing with. We had reporters and photographers on the scene as early as anybody, and in some cases earlier than the emergency services people. And they got some of the real magnificent, powerful images that show up in the book that we did in last year for the 10th anniversary. And they understood the meaning, and as the information played out over time, they got a sense of this national story that had landed in their midst and become both a local story and a national story. I mean, the old mantra is all news is local, and in this case it became very local and very personal to a lot of people in this community, and I think you can tell when you look back through our archives from that period that the reporters got it. They understood that it mattered, that it was meaningful, and it wasn't just meaningful in a sense of global terrorism and all that kind of thing, although that was a piece of it. But you had real people reacting, either the coroner or the fire department, police officers, volunteers making meals. All those things started immediately in and around Shanksville, and it became a local story in a big way. We're still here to chronicle history and capture the moments of the community as they play out. Certainly I hope newspapers are around for a long time, because we're talking about heritage preservation, and that's really what newspapers are about, protecting and preserving the cultural and historical aspects that matter most to the people in their community. So if we're not going to do it, I don't know who it would be, but I certainly hope we're here for a long time. We still roll paper through and smack ink onto it, and images show up on the paper, and that still happens. But there's this other area that we've explored pretty nicely, and I think it's made us better. I'm extremely honored to be sitting here talking about what we've been doing at the Tribune-Democrat. I think anyone who works here would say that they are very honored to be representative of the history of the paper in this moment, receiving this award. The Tribune-Democrat in various forms has been around for a century and a half, and this mission has been there since the very beginning, of informing, of being a chronicle of history, and providing that mirror on the community and preserving what matters most here, culturally, historically, and we've carried that forward. It didn't start with us, but we've certainly maintained that, and it's an honor to be recognized for that. And I think it represents 150 plus years of this newspaper, not just the last 3 or 4.